Hello, everybody. This is another edition of the 9 o'clock Meltdown podcast. And over the phone, I have the very talented and wonderful Ryan and Derrick of the Duluth music scene. Hello, boys.
Hello.
Now, I just got done telling you that I've wanted to interview the both of you for a long time, so I am extremely excited about this. Sadly, your singer for this band is sleeping, so she will not be joining us today, but I have many a story with Chandler as well. So you guys are in the band Never Together, but you have a very unique spelling on that as well. Can we jump right in?
Yeah, sure. In terms of the spelling, it's really just, I think, a stylistic choice. Let's just try something a little different,
Mm-hmm. Plus, we're all hipsters, so we had to be silly with it a little bit, I think.
I love it. And you use the term hipster. I love it even more. Let's show our ages here.
Oh, definitely.
It's fine. We're all old. Now, Derrick, what kind of led you into this band? Was it just overall talent, or did the band seek you out?
What got me here, actually, I moved here from St. Cloud. So I came from the St. Cloud music scene, and one of the ways that I got plugged into everything here was through Kamikaze, which was a fantastic event, and we didn't have anything like that, and I thought it was really cool. It was a great way to start meeting people. I love the idea, and just getting tossed in to the deep end and having to figure things out. It was a really cool experience, and that's what got me started here.
Ryan, I have known you for quite a while. I remember you at KUWS on Walter's show many a time, and I'm glad to see that you never quit playing music. I think for a while there we were both kind of frazzled with it and a little out of sorts, but I am glad you're back in. So what led you to the band?
Yeah, I'm glad that things are coming back at it too. I think that this all kind of started before the pandemic, and I kind of chatted a little bit with Chandler and with Derrick, like separately, about the idea of starting a new project, something poppy or dancey or dark or something like that. And Chandler and I had gotten together and talked it over once. And Derrick and I had gotten together a couple times. And then the pandemic happened. And then somehow those two managed to get together and start making music, separately, where, Derrick might throw together a melody and a drum beat, send it over to Chandler. They throw vocals over the top of it. And that's what led to the name. Because everything got started with those two, not being able to physically be together. Those two started, kind of roped me in, and then I roped in Jesse, who is a former bandmate of mine in the Social Disaster. So that's kind of how it came to be.
Fabulous. I love how you guys kind of all amalgamate and kind of borrow other bandmates and things like that, because yes, Ryan, I remember you from Social Disaster. That was an amazing act as well, and like I said before, I'm so glad that you're still doing the music thing and making it work. And now Never Together has made quite a splash in the music scene around here. Has your reception been pretty well received? I mean, I know from what I'm seeing, looking from the outside in, it's going really well.
Yeah, I think so. Kind of pleasantly surprised. We weren't really sure what to expect, as we started throwing some music together. And yeah, I think it helps that the five of us now all kind of have different histories, different friend groups that have come together, and they all really like to come out and support us. We're pretty lucky in that regard.
Wonderful. What do you guys have on the docket for Never Together? Is there an EP in the works? Have you already released one? What are you guys thinking? What's the next big move?
Well, we have some demos up on Bandcamp right now. Those are some tunes that we recorded as a 4-piece. When was that, Derrick? Was that 2021 that we put those together?
I think so, yeah.
2021?
It's hard to believe time passes funny now, but
yeah, so that's almost
we'll be back in 2021, yeah.
So yeah, we put some demos together of 4 songs. Since then, Derrick has moved from bass over to synthesizer, and we've brought in Nikki to fill up in bass here. So we have some plans to record in April. Here, early April, we're going to be going to the Weight Room in Washburn to record some stuff with Ryan Roush and see what we can throw together in a day. So hopefully, an EP or a few singles will come of that. with then hopes of something more full length in the fall, or who knows, maybe early 2024. Things are up in the air.
It sounds like you guys are really progressing forward at a really nice pace, actually. So I have actually heard of the Weight Room, but never really interviewed anybody that's been there or planning on going there. How did you discover the Weight Room? Were you just looking for different recording studios around? Did they reach out to you? How did that come about?
I had just contacted Ryan because Social Disaster did an EP there as well. So I had a little bit of history there, know his layout, and just it's a fun place to play. It's a relatively short drive to get there. So it was really like that. That just kind of felt like the natural place to go,
Perfect. Let's jump into a little history since I have you both on the phone. Now, Ryan, you were with Social Disaster for quite a while, and Derrick, it kind of sounds like you jumped in through Kamikaze. How did you guys start on your musical endeavors? Was it through high school band? Was it through high school choir? How did that all kind of culminate for the two of you?
For me, I got into music pretty late in life. Personally, I hadn't even learned how to play anything until I was about 22 years old, and I just decided, I'm going to learn how to play the guitar. It was something that was interesting to me. From there, I kind of branched out, learned how to play the bass, ukulele, keyboard, drums, you name it, anything I can get my hands on. I just like to play music, and one of the ways that kind of helped me with that is just like jumping into band, where it was kind of that sink or swim mentality where it's like, I have to learn this, I have to be able to do this because we got a show coming up, or we got practice coming up, and I want to be on point. So for me, just jumping onto different projects and stuff has always been very inspiring, and just creating original music is something that I think is fantastic. And getting into the scene in Duluth here, knowing that there were other people that wanted to create something new and unique, was really nice meeting Ryan and Chan and Jesse and Nikki and everybody that wanted to kind of create that similar thing. So we had that motivation from the get-go, and it's been pretty easy going.
Fabulous. Ryan, how about you?
I did get started way back in high school in the early aughts. Really only ever playing the drums in high school band, and joining high school choir as well. I went to a very small school in northern Minnesota here, so that's kind of how it started, and went from doing that to having a small garage band in high school, and then being able to get involved in a band with my older brother in Duluth here, a group called the Hotel Choral Essex. We played our first show back in 2006 for the Homegrown Music Festival, and there, being a lucky 19-year-old kid who got to be in a band with his older brother, some scenesters that had quite a bit of street cred already, kind of led to being able to start punk bands later on. And one thing led to another. You start a band, and then you start another band, and then you start another band, and then you end up in a group called Never Together, and you play pop music.
Now, Ryan, I love the terminology that you're using here. You're taking me back several years with hipster and scenester and...
We are showing our age a little bit, aren't we?
It's okay. I think the kids these days call it being nostalgic, so we're all right. We'll hook in listeners by being nostalgic. It's okay. Now, Ryan, earlier you had called yourselves hipsters. I guess there's a lot of different terminology being thrown around these days, but what does that kind of mean for you guys as a band? Is that kind of something that you try to put forth? Just kind of that more punk, laid-back mentality? What does that kind of mean for you and the band?
I think we're all just kind of a bunch of nerds, actually, big music nerds, and we come from a different variety of inspirations and everything. So, that term hipster that I joke around with is, kind of a broad term and kind of just poking fun at ourselves. But yeah, that's one of those things where we really like music, and, we get passionate about different types of things and bringing that together and bringing that scene here.
Fabulous. I love it. The diversity definitely speaks in your passion and in your voice as well. That's absolutely fabulous to hear. Now, with Never Together, do you guys have a main lyricist? Are you kind of lifting from other songs that you guys know? What's the overarching vibe? What's the driving force behind your music?
Lyrically, that's all Chandler. Musically, Derrick has really read a lot of stuff kind of from the start. He'll build something at home on Pro Tools or GarageBand or something like that, where he has kind of a basis started, and that's kind of been quite a few songs where he has an idea for this melody and puts something together at home, sends it over to us, and we kind of start riffing on that once we all get together there. I mean, there's been other stuff where Jesse has a guitar riff. One of our new songs that we're probably going to be releasing here soon is based around a guitar hook that Jesse's been sitting on for like 10 years. So it finally found a home here with us. But lyrically and vocally, Chandler's the driving force there. But since he probably won't say it himself, I think Derrick probably take a lot of credit for the foundation of a lot of our songs so far. Whether it's a synth hook, drum beat, guitar lines, all of the above. Just kind of something that he's noodled around with that's built itself into a lot of other songs that we've put together so far.
Yeah, I'm kind of more of a musical tinkerer, I guess, where I'll like to mess around with things at home, or I'll just be sitting around and I'll hear this melody, or I'll think of this idea, and then I'll just fire up my computer and start hashing out a drum beat to go with it, and kind of just build from there. And then I'll just take that and bring it to the band and be like, here's this thing I've been messing around with, and Chandler will usually pick up on that pretty quick vocally and write some words that go with it and a good vocal melody, and then we all get together and just kind of lay it down and see where it goes.
That's excellent to hear. Now, I shared the stage with Chandler once during Kamikaze, and during our practices, she has such this beautiful big voice, and I remember right before we hit the stage, she's like, so when I get on stage, tend to pelt it a little bit more. And I didn't quite understand what she meant until we hit the stage, and holy cats, do they have a set of pipes. Have you found that in practice, that it's kind of nice to have somebody that has a really big voice and can fill the room? It's a beautiful driving force. Have you found that with this band, that there's that as well?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Chandler's fantastic. And, just to add to that, too, they are so powerful vocally. I remember when we were doing some early builds and things like that before everybody started getting together, the harmonies with themselves, it was just fantastic. It was seemingly effortless, where, there'd be a vocal track, and we go through, and then on one take, it would create this perfect harmony that just fit it in such a fantastic way. And people that can do that have always been super impressive to me. So I think that's great. And we'll probably see some of that too, with our recordings that are coming up, maybe layering some of those harmonies and things like that.
Now I'm extremely excited and ecstatic for this EP to come out. Are you guys going to do a Kickstarter, or is the funds coming from Bandcamp, or your own individual pockets? Have you thought about this for a Kickstarter or anything like that? Or where are you going to go with it?
Right now, we're kind of paying for it ourselves. We're going to see basically, what it costs to get in and record and go from there. We're not sure if we're going to do anything physical with it, so luckily, like, the need for, a Kickstarter or crowdfunding or anything like that hasn't presented itself yet, especially, depending on how many songs we can get together with a recording session. And we'll determine whether or not we want to do anything physical, or if we want to keep everything just online and digital for the start from there. So otherwise, going forward, we're unsure. Do we put something out on CD? Do we go the nostalgic route, put something out on a cassette tape, as a lot of folks are doing the last few years? Vinyl prices have kind of skyrocketed, so the idea of putting out like a 7-inch or a 10-inch or a 12-inch seems a little daunting. So for right now, we're just gonna self-fund, get into the studio, and take it one week at a time.
Fabulous. I love the kind of go with the flow attitude that this band has. So many bands, they're like, well, on day one I have to lay down the vocals, on day two it's the drum tracks, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. But you guys seem just so, I don't want to say nonchalant, because that's not it. You definitely have a plan, but you just seem so relaxed about the whole thing. It's kind of refreshing, honestly.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of nonchalant. It's not so serious. We're having a good time, but at the same time, you don't want to take it too seriously. We don't want to take ourselves too seriously. That's why we kind of probably do give off that nonchalant vibe. It's like, we'll see what happens. We'll go from here, go from there. We're not really the schedule everything down kind of group, and it's nice. It really kind of hammers home that we're lucky enough to make music a hobby as opposed to a job. So that's what's keeping it kind of fun for me anyway.
Fabulous. I love it. And isn't that the epitome of everything? You gotta keep it fun, because then when it becomes work, it's not there anymore. I have found that in my own life as well, with my own hobbies and endeavors. And yeah, you gotta keep it fun, you gotta keep it lighthearted, because then I think that definitely shows when you're on stage and playing for a crowd as well, that you're there to have fun. You're not there to make a paycheck and pay the bills. I love it. Never Together, you're gonna do an EP here soon. Any thoughts on a music video or anything like that? Or is that's over there and you're not even gonna think about it yet?
We've actually, been tossing around some ideas recently about doing some kind of music video, kind of, in the spirit of just having fun with it. And, we also talked about like doing some kind of unorthodox merch and just kind of goofy stuff like that. And I think that spirit really lives with us in this band. And that's what's fantastic and so fun about this, is that we're just kind of goofy people. And I think our true talent lies in cracking jokes behind the scenes. So, if people aren't really, if the music doesn't take off, then we'll probably release, some tracks just with our banter in the background, and that will be a hit for sure.
I love it. Okay, so you have to release this EP, then you have to release another EP of your just straight up banter, and I'll just release that and be like, here's the EP for everybody to listen to. Now I'm excited. Now I kind of just want to be a fly on the wall when you're in like a green room somewhere and laugh hysterically. Something that you had mentioned a little earlier was about how prices are skyrocketing, on vinyl and, doing the nostalgia route and cassette tapes and things like that. Are you finding that kind of the swing is more going to just releasing MP3s and having an online presence versus that physical copy?
It kind of seems that way. I guess, I haven't personally released anything physical for quite a while, but I think, one thing that the pandemic showed is, you can do so much online. You can release these things online. And even way before the pandemic hit, I think a lot of folks were just doing digital releases for a lot of work, not just music, but a lot of different media. And since, the nature of this band was, meeting online and building songs without being present with one another, it kind of hammers home that maybe physical media is going its own separate ways. How many cars have CD players these days versus an auxiliary input? If everybody wants to just create a playlist on Spotify or Apple Music or Tidal or whatever, you're just going to plug your phone into your car. You're going to plug your phone into speakers at home, versus throwing a record on the turntable or a CD into, your CD player. So the nature of physical media, I think I still want to do it at some point, but is the audience there, for it? Do people want to bring home that physical media or a t-shirt or, a poster from a show, or are they excited to be there, to see the performance, experience it, and then, listen on their own time on their phone, on their computers, or whatever. And
to another point, MP3 has come such a long way since it did back in the early 2000s in the beginning. Now MP3s almost sound like a WAV file with almost all the information there and all the nuances and things like that. They don't sound robotic or tinny anymore like they used to. So that in itself has kind of moved more to sound like physical media, which I think is kind of cool. It just goes to show how much music and other media forms can persevere in the digital age.
Definitely. I think that it seems like, it's one of those things where it kind of comes back around. A lot of trends will fade out and they'll come back around. So the physical media was kind of going out, but then there's that allure of, like having something physical in your hands, and there's that almost retro nostalgia feel that comes with it, and people pick back up on that. And I think that that's really cool, and that'll be a fun part of doing something a little different. Like if we do release a cassette tape. We played with a band recently at the Jade Fountain called the 30s from Marquette, and they had released some cassette tapes, and just the holding that in your hand and looking at that and having a piece of media that is outdated, but there's a certain charm to it. There's something there. So I think that those types of things will definitely stick around.
Yes, I agree. Definitely. When you say that, there's always the case of, well, radio is going the way of the dodo bird. Radio's still around. People are still listening to it. They may listen to Siri XM now or what have you, but it's still there. Disc jockeys are still a thing, so it's just kind of changing and ebbing with the times. But I can completely agree with you. Having that something physical to hold, I think will always be around. I don't think that's ever really going to go away. Now, you guys had mentioned earlier that in thinking about doing merch and things like that, you're thinking about doing things that aren't necessarily traditional. So like CDs and t-shirts and things. Can we dive a little bit into that, or do you want to keep that a secret and a surprise for when you do a merch drop?
Yeah, I don't know if the idea has gone anywhere further than that. Just the idea of like, what if we tried something different? You know, there's no real in-stone plans yet. I think step one is going to be, releasing the music. We'll see what kind of energy we have to put out other physical merchandise.
All right, perfect.
Maybe Derrick has some grandiose plans for a 3-piece suit, branded by us or something. But I don't know if we're going that far yet.
Oh,
the sky's the limit.
Shoes, branded shoes. There you go. Or socks, underpants. I'm just throwing out ideas for you guys right now. But
I like these ideas. That's great.
Fabulous.
But yeah, like Ryan said, the music is definitely the recording, and the music is definitely the focus. But we like to have some fun with some other stuff too. So
yes, honestly, just talking to you both, which has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. I can hear the passion that you guys have for this band and the kind of more laid-back, fun approach, which is absolutely amazing. I think a lot of people lose sight of that, and like I said earlier, when something stops being fun, in all honesty, in my opinion, it's time to kind of cut that loose and go find your fun again. I am so glad that you guys are having fun with this band and that everyone is enjoying themselves, because then that really shows to the audience as well. Derrick, Ryan, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk with me in the wider world about Never Together. You guys are releasing an EP soon. Your music is up on Bandcamp if anyone wants to check it out, or if they want to see you live. I know you guys are playing Homegrown this year, and you also have extensive music and things like that happening around town. Thank you both so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us. NVR TGTHR.bandcamp.com. So never together without the vowels. .bandcamp.com is where you can find the music here. Otherwise, April 8th at the Rex is where you can check us out next live at the Homegrown Music Festival as well.
All right, fabulous. Thank you both so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.